Hey guys, Mike Hansel. Hey guys, Mike Hanselman. I'm the owner of Small Arms Pistol Academy, and I thought I would kind of break down an interesting topic today. And it's the big debate between steel, which you're going to see the cartridge on the left, or brass, the cartridge on the right. So what I have is a giant magnet, and why don't I just throw this over here real fast, and we'll see which one gets picked up. So our steel cartridge was the only one that got picked up because the steel is magnetic where brass isn't. And when we get into the bolts and everything, the magnet's not going to pick up the bolt, it's going to pick up that casing. So one reason that I think steel is something that you can find right now is because people have this mentality that steel will damage your firearm. And it could. Steel is a harder metal than what brass is. Brass is very malleable, so overall, you're talking about a small piece of your firearm called an extractor, and it's going to be hitting that brass, and it's going to be pulling it back, and it's going to work, without damaging that extractor. For the longevity of your firearm, if all you ever shot was steel casings out of there, you do risk actually damaging that extractor. But let's be honest, most people are not out at a gun range shooting 10,000 rounds a year where this is ever going to be a serious debate for them. If they shoot 100 rounds in a year, that's probably the max they're going to do. They're not going to notice any issues with their firearm for 20, 30 years with that extractor. So run whatever you can find, in my opinion. Now, what do I personally like using? Well, if I can find brass, I'm going to select brass, but brass does cost a little bit more than steel. So there's the whole financial debate of which one makes more sense. An extractor for a firearm is only going to cost about $18 to $30. So overall, are you really saving a ton of money if you're going to be shooting overall you're shooting brass and then you have to replace this piece sometime or maybe never, or if you have to replace this $18 part a little bit more frequent, but you've saved over, years of buying steel, just buy the steel. Now, again, I personally choose brass, and this is why. I reload most of my ammo. So this cartridge over here is something I have reloaded. And I buy it because, again, it's more malleable. So you cannot reload these steel cartridges. It's not really a safe thing to do, so I don't recommend doing it. But brass, I can reload again and again until eventually I get a stress crack or something in the casing, and then I can no longer use it. Now, what is some of the cool features about shooting brass over steel? Well, generally speaking, because brass is softer, it expands. And when it expands, it can actually seal the breech of that firearm, allowing all the pressure to be driven forwards. And when that actually occurs, your gun ultimately is going to remain a little bit cleaner. If you're shooting steel, it's not really going to expand out, so you can actually get some falling back in your chamber, and your gun ultimately is just going to be dirtier because you're shooting steel. Now, I don't think that's a huge make or break. If you just clean your firearm from time to time, you're not really going to notice anything, except when you shoot steel, you're going to have to maybe spend a couple more minutes out there scrubbing that gun down. But when you're using the right solvents, again, you're really not going to be spending too much time, so shoot whatever you can find. Ultimately, whether you choose steel, you choose brass, if you never actually shoot your firearm and you don't know how to operate it, it doesn't really matter which one you find. But if you're out there training all the time and you don't mind cleaning your firearm, then find one of these two and get out there, practice, train, and get very effective with that tool. So what do we actually have here? The steel casing on the right is made by Winchester. That's the box of ammo. It was something I was able to find right now during an ammo shortage at one of our local gun stores. So I picked it up, shot it. It works great. I'll break it down real fast for you just so you can see what it actually is. This is a 115 grain projectile. That's its steel casing right here at the bottom. And then we have our projectile, this part. This is actually a full metal jacket. So it has a lead core with a full metal jacket around it. Versus what I have over on the left. This is one of my reloads. So this is actually just a full metal jacket. So same projectile as what I have over here on the right. It just has a different casing to it, which again, it's going to be your brass versus steel. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose. Get out there, train. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you do click like, subscribe, turn those alert notifications on. I appreciate any of your feedback and try to respond to all of you. Take care, guys.